All right. Welcome, everybody. This is our first show. This is the first show of the Plugged In podcast presented by Wave One Media. My name is Dave Macon. I'm going to be your host today. And our first guest on the show, the one, the only, Mr. Mike G.
Appreciate you for having me. I'm definitely glad to be here.
Man, we appreciate you joining us for the first show. This is a new concept that I sat down with Wyatt and Landon, who runs Plug, and we were just trying to figure out what can we do to not only cross-promote our audiences, but we were all running across each other in these same spaces, but how can we kind of bring our audiences together in a way that people can kind of network, learn about what other people local here in the city got going on, and, you know, support or plug in to what they got going on. So we looked at, you know, our list of important people around the city, and Mike, you right at the top of that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, man, you're doing a lot of great things for the Indianapolis, but for the people that don't know, let's start at the very top. You know what I'm saying? Tell me a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself to the people, bro.
Yeah, so Mike Gillis. I'm from Northwest Indiana. So grew up in East Chicago, Maryville, Gary area. And then came to Indianapolis 2011 to go to IUPUI, graduated Kelly School of Business there 2015. Fast forward to now, I have a couple different businesses, a clothing brand in WDRFA, stands for We Don't Run From Adversity. And then I also do freelance digital marketing work. So that's really like my cash cow, the thing I'm most proud about, being able to like have a business, being a young black male and getting other businesses to trust me, and to be able to deliver on that time and time again. And then the other thing that I do that I really enjoy and passionate about is blogging. So I'm a travel food type of blogger, and I write for a couple of different publications, and I get to travel to different cities and experience what their life is like from a local perspective as well.
Boom. So like you just dropped a whole lot on the people. And what we're going to do in today's show is really kind of just break it down a little bit so people can get a better understanding on how you able to do all of these things at a young age, but also at such a high level. So first, one of the things that you touched on, just kind of rewinding a little bit. So you went to school out here at IUPUI, Kelly School of Business, which I know that's one of the top business schools in the nation. I guess, how was your college experience? And then how did that kind of get you prepped or ready for what you're doing now? Cause I'm a guess that you did not go to school and major in blogging or major in being an influencer or anything like that. So what did you major in, and then how did that prep you for now?
Yeah, so just to even rewind a little bit more. So before I went to college, I graduated high school when I was 17, not because I'm super smart or anything, but I started school early, you know, based on the birthday thing. So started school early, graduated when I was 17, and I knew that I would fall into the trap if I went to a college town. So like my mindset was like, how can I be in a city, like, and have that city lifestyle, while going to school and while not paying out of state tuition, you know, going to IUPUI or even a Butler or, you know, University of Indianapolis is something that intrigued me. But then knowing people went to IUPUI and then knowing that it's right downtown in the city, that's what kind of drew me to it. So went there, knew I always wanted to major in business. When I got there, I didn't really know what part of business I wanted to do. And I quickly learned it was marketing. So majored in marketing and supply chain management, because those majors just work well together for me. And I do utilize both of those in like my everyday work, because I do have a digital marketing company. So kind of foreseeing what social media was going to do. And then the supply chain management is like how I manage to do everything I'm doing. Having to like critically think and process and put things in order for it to go smoothly is like how I have to operate every single day.
To make some real progress, for sure. So you majored in marketing, and then that in turn led to you having your own digital marketing company. With your digital marketing company, what's the name of it, and what do you all primarily do? Like, what are you primarily working on or putting out on the digital marketing side?
The name is Boston Young Digital Marketing, and like the main thing that we do is help small businesses or any business focus on like building digitally. So that can be social media, email marketing, their websites. So anything in the digital space that has to do with business and reaching people is kind of like what we're there to do. So it's kind of consulting in a sense as well.
Okay. All right. So boom, the marketing side is one thing, but then you transferred over, or not transferred, but there's another dimension where you're doing the blogging and the vlogging side of things. So I can definitely see how marketing can influence that. But how did you get started into blogging and vlogging? And then what are you mainly like blogging and vlogging about?
Okay, so back in high school, my brother kind of inspired me to like kind of be a journalist. So he was like newspaper, yearbook stuff. So me just being a younger brother, I did the same type of thing. So I learned a little bit about it then. Then when I went to school, I even talked to my counselor, like, man, is it possible for me to like minor in journalism? And he was like, honestly, like monetarily, it just wouldn't make sense. You could, but you'll spend more time here and it's going to cost more money. And you're still going to have all these other prerequisites. So just don't do it. So it kind of killed me at the time because I'm like, man, I'm passionate about that. But, you know, in school, sometimes you find those trusted people that you listen to. And it did work out for the better because I'm still in debt. But it would have been worse had I tried to follow my dream, and it still came full circle. But to answer your question, being in the city, being who I am, I started going to different restaurants and things, and I was posting on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, and people were just like, man, how you always finding these places to eat and da-da-da. And I'm like, that fueled me to keep it going. And then I wanted to like have a platform or outlet to get that out. So I started reaching out to different publications. Nobody would hit me back. And then one of my followers was like, you know what? I've been seeing that you want to write for somebody. I have a plug at Visit Indy. So end up speaking with them, and they liked what I was doing. They thought that I could offer, you know, a different perspective on what they were already doing with their blog. So I've been writing for them for about 3 years now. And that's how I really got into the blogging aspect of what I do. It made me want to storytell more.
So it really kind of came down to you just making the decision that, hey, this is what I want to do, and then taking it upon yourself to reach out to these different publications. Because I bring this up because I feel like Indianapolis is a huge city, right? And I know a lot of people that are interested in becoming influencers or bloggers, but they really feel like this is not the environment for it. Or they feel like they got to move to not necessarily a bigger city, because Indianapolis is a big city, but they feel like they got to move around to make those things happen. I guess from your perspective, that's not necessarily the case, but did you ever have the thought or the notion in your mind that you weren't going to be able to be a food influencer or blog or vlog here for any reason? Or
so to be completely transparent, like when I graduated college, I was trying to do what everybody else do, is like go get a corporate job. And growing up, you know, we're from the same place essentially. Growing up there, like you see people work at the mill, or you see people have, you know, good jobs, but they never like had the opportunity to like put on a suit and tie and go to work. So like that was still like something that was a goal for me. Like, man, I could really go work in a suit. Like I got my degree, I got all this figured out, and it just didn't work out for me like that, based on some personal things that happened in life, and then like the professional career side of things just not really going my way. So honestly, by like what I've envisioned for myself at the time not working out is kind of how I got into what I started doing. And then I just kept it going, and I always had great feedback from the community. So I never felt like I needed to go somewhere else to get that validation. So everybody's situation different. I mean, depending on what your goals are and what you want to do, I feel like it can happen here, but sometimes you need to assess what you might need to do and go into a different city. So just in terms of how you developed as a professional and what you're doing now, did you start off with that corporate job and then you ended up leaving, or how did it kind of kick off for you once you did wrap up college? It's like, I got the degree. Now what's next? What was the next steps for you after that? Man, so it's been a journey. So like when I graduated, I had an opportunity to like have a job where I'd be like traveling for like a year, or like 6 months to a year, as long as everything worked out right. And that like fell through. And in that process, I had turned down a job to like make more money than I ever even made in the corporate world to this day. So it's like me being 21 years old, turning some money down based on being able to travel. I always was like mad about that, but then I ended up working retail, which is something I was super passionate about, something I had done before. And that just opened up doors for me to learn how to do different things behind the scene in retail. Yep. That's what kind of birthed the clothing brand. So it's like for everything that didn't work out the way that I envisioned it, like it came full circle for it to like really be something I'm passionate about. So, you know, a clothing brand was birthed out of me having to go work retail and not make much money right after college. Me turning down, you know, a job to make a nice amount of money and being able to wear a suit and tie. To travel that didn't work out came full circle because now I get to travel while I blog and vlog. So it's just a cool thing. Yeah, I started to, at this point in my life, I trust the process more than anything. I feel like right after school or while you in school, you're just so ambitious and can't nobody tell you shit. Like you're just ambitious. Like, no, I'm gonna make this happen. This is gonna work. And for some people it worked, but for me it just didn't work out that way.
Nah, I definitely, I have a similar story, and I feel like I found my path through things not going the way that I exactly envisioned it. And I was able to figure some things out. But you brought up something that was interesting in that last blurb as well, as far as you getting into fashion and starting your clothing brand.
Right.
So what's the name of the clothing brand? And, you know, what's your goals with that?
So the clothing brand, and we really like to call it a lifestyle brand just because we do see Indianapolis as a place that is growing and that we can just help people see everything that's being offered here. So we call it a lifestyle brand because we aim to use clothes like as one of our main vehicles to bring people together. The clothing was really created out of, one, it not being here in the city. And then two, us just really liking things that we couldn't go buy in the city as well. So clothing brand name is WDRFA, stands for We Don't Run From Adversity. And you know, we started off making jackets and hats, T-shirts, hoodies. We were fortunate enough to do a collaboration with People for Urban Progress, helped them make their first backpack, made duffel bags. And then even in this next year, we have like some really cool things planned. But the ultimate goal is to bring people together in the city, expose them to things within our lifestyle that we deem to be cool, that people don't, or we don't think that people patronize enough in the city. And then also continue to just like be creative, get our ideas out and be able to start offering things that are, you know, super high quality, but with the purpose of teaching people like, no, this is the reason why, you know, I don't know, a Comms de Garçon T-shirt is $110.
Okay.
And this is why, you know.
And that why piece is important. And I think what even made me kind of ask you that question is I've been to one of your pop-up shop / events. And we got to actually rewind a little bit because you've had a couple of different types of events here in the city that have been like super engaging, different and refreshing, in different ways. But the most recent one was a pop-up event that you had for your clothing.
Right.
And one thing, me as a creative, as a marketer as well, I always took notice to how you had the products laid out, how the space complemented, you know, the event itself.
Right.
And the entire curation of the event. Like you seem to have like a vibe, curated when you come to your events. I don't think that that's happening accidentally. And can you speak
Not at all.
to
There's a lot of work
any of that?
into
Yeah.
it.
Can you speak to that a little bit? How you put that together?
Yeah. So, I mean, man, it's definitely a process, and it's something that me and my business partner, GP, have learned throughout doing the pop-ups is that we want to make sure that we can create an environment that people feel like they can't get when somebody else is doing it. So like we take pride in every event that we have, and that's why they aren't as frequent as some of the events that other people throw. It's just because we want to make sure that we can deliver on like the intangibles every time. So whether people come and buy product or not is not really our concern. We feel like if people like the product, that's great. But if people like the environment, that's the things that will get people to buy into the lifestyle. That's what'll get people to want to come and do a tasting of some whiskey or go get some coffee or do all these other things. It's not about the product. So like that process it's extensive because we're always looking for different venues and things that people haven't used in the city. But also, a lot of the things that we do are based on, partnership. I mean, not partnerships, but relationships. So when we're doing something at Commissary, that's, a 4-month, 5-month process in the making. And then we happen to have it there. When we do something at, James Dant or Quality or Printex at the time or Got Soul, that's a 12-year relationship
that's been built, and then
it's something in regards to our lifestyle that we really do enjoy. So we really do it, like, at least for me, for sure. Like, I'm at Commissary a couple times a week getting work done. I enjoy their coffee. I like the vibe. So when I get to expose people to that in real time and curate it in my own way, it feels real special.
Yeah, man. I'll be the first to tell you, definitely from my perspective, I spent the last 2 years out in Los Angeles. And when I walked into your event this past weekend, I felt like I was back in LA, or I felt like I was in New York. And I feel like that's a vibe that, again, it's because of the area. People feel like, if you're going to do something along the lines of a boutique or launch a clothing brand, this is just not the environment and not the place to do it. And you, again, similar to the blog and the vlogging thing, you found a way to kind of shatter a lot of these stereotypes, create your own path, and still make things work for yourself out here. So, I mean, like I said, man, I think that this is just something for everybody to take notice of. And if they appreciate what you're doing like I do, you know what I'm saying, salute. And know that you can do some of the same things that you're doing. Right. So, that's dope. That's really dope. So the event this past weekend was fashion related, but I've attended an event that you've hosted, a couple different events, but I've also attended an event that you hosted that was, more food based, where we were, it was a partnership or collaboration that you did with Tinker Coffee, right? Yeah. We got to taste some coffee. You had, debuted a TV show damn near, and then, we were eating off a menu, like the Mike G special off the menu. So like, tell me a little bit about what all that was about and how did you go about setting that up?
Yeah, so I had called that the Brunch Series, and it was short-lived. It was honestly me just doing too much before its time and not really understanding all the work that goes into it. So whereas like now you can see that we really focus on that. But at the time it was like, man, I got people I want to bring together and I just want to do some shit. Yeah. And while that happened, it just didn't happen like it should have. But that event specifically, I interviewed Tinker Coffee before their time. Now they've been open 5 years and it's crazy. But the Brunch Series was a way that, when you break bread with people, it means something. So being around people, being able to eat around people and just network and talk was something that I thought would be really cool because it's something, again, in my lifestyle that I do anyway. So the place is closed now, but it was called Taste, and I used to go there probably once or twice a month because I really enjoyed everything they had on their menu for breakfast. And so the Brunch Series was just something that we really wanted to expose people to restaurants, or I wanted to expose people to different restaurants because we did it there. We did it at Maxine's as well. Yep,
I was at that one as well. So can we expect to see the Brunch Series making a return anytime soon? Because I feel like you were already doing the food blog thing, but that's only went up over the last year, especially, but over the last couple of years, that's only went up. So can we expect the Brunch Series to come back? Because I feel like now, your ability to curate and put on these events has only gotten better. The Brunch Series was incredible, bro. Yeah, I know you said it was a lie. It kind of was, you feel like you kind of threw it together, but you threw the right things together. And I think that everybody attended it had a great time. So on behalf of everybody, when is the next Brunch Series out? When is that coming back?
I'll say that whenever it comes back, it'll be on a much bigger scale, like a much grander scale. And again, that's because like the proper planning. So me partnering with restaurants on a Saturday morning, right afternoon, it just don't make sense. They getting bread anyway. You know what I'm saying? Saturday, Sunday, when people got their free time, they already getting money, so they don't really need me to bring people in. But if it's at a point where it's like, no, I want to buy your restaurant out. I don't care if y'all make, 20,000 in 2 hours, let's do it. Then you could really have those conversations, because money is the ultimate resource, when you could be like, nah, shut down to the public. But most restaurants here, they value their customer base or the people who visit in the town way too much to close for a private event like that. And those are the type of things that when you are in the LA, that it don't matter, because in LA, they see the value in this influencer, this person, this entertainer shutting my restaurant down. They see the value in that. Whereas to here, it's like, well, no, our customer, our core base, and this and this and this. So it's a lot of barriers. But I definitely think when it comes back, it'll be on a much grander scale. Because, food is something I'm passionate about, and it's something that I do want to use as a way to bring people together. So the Brunch Series, maybe some other things, but I think it'll be something with food soon.
So one more thing I kind of want to ask as a piggyback off of that, you talked about some of the barriers and things like that that you used to run into. Some of the adversity.
Still do.
And still running into it. But I guess, how were you able to connect with these restaurants or these places that you are hosting your pop-up shops and get them to collaborate or work with you? Because I feel like that's one of the things that people feel like those resources or these spaces or people that are willing to work with them don't exist. So that's a lot of times the main excuse that I hear. But, you seem to figure it out. You seem to figure it out. So what are you doing to get these people or convince these people that you are worth their time, worth working with, and you can kind of, bring a different element to their business or what they're doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I say that because, like I say, a lot of people, businesses, companies, I reached out to in college just trying to do stuff just because I had ideas, but not knowing the right way to go about things. So a lot of these situations, some of these companies are doubling back to talk with me. And sometimes I'm doubling back to say, I'm sorry for even reaching out to you like that, but now I'm for real. Now this is what I can do. So I will say that that's where school helped me a lot. In regards to just knowing how to communicate effectively to the right person that you're talking to at the time. Okay. Some people, you got to walk up in their business and talk to them, because that's the only way they communicate. Some people, you have to know how to email. You have to know how to do that. Some people you can DM. Some people it takes a friend of a friend, but it's the research aspect that you have to do as a creative, as a person who's trying to do something, to know how to go and communicate with these people effectively. There's no one way to do it. But yeah, I will say for sure though, if you can draft a really great email and send that to somebody, and that is going to read the email within the company, it definitely can go a long way. Right. And that's something I learned in school. One of my favorite professors, I had emailed her one day just to ask about a grade or something. And she was like, yeah, come see me in my office. I went and talked to her. She was like, you would never send another email like that in your life. It's going to be like this, this, and this. I would never respond to that. But that's something every time I'm drafting the email, every time I respond to the email, I think about her, because I'm like, she really put that in perspective for me. Like, why would I take you serious if you can't even communicate effectively? So I say that to say it's a lot of people who hit me up on a daily basis who come in my DMs wrong, or I have them email me. Their email looks bad. And it's not that I don't want to help people, but at the end of the day, advice not free either. Right. So it's like that's where the consulting aspect comes in. But yeah, communication is everything in any relationship.
Communication and building relationships. Like, that seems to be definitely two vital things that was like critical to your success in the city. And you kind of answered my last question I was going to ask. I was going to say, like, what is like one thing that you feel like is critical for someone that has interest in becoming an influencer or a blogger or a vlogger here in the city, where you may feel like this is not the environment for it? What is the one thing, or what is the one or two things that they can kind of really kind of focus on to take them to the next level, or to get them to that next step? I don't want to answer this for you, but would you say that is communication and relationships, or would you?
Well, yeah. So since we already said that, I'll say communication and relationships. That's definitely one. But the other thing would be to trust the process, do your research, and know when it's time. Because sometimes people get into stuff and they want to do it too soon, or they doing it for the wrong reasons. And sometimes those kind of things show. So if you are starting a clothing brand, no knock to you. It's a million clothing brands out there. Like, we definitely not the first people to do it in the city or anything. But I will say the reason why we do it effectively is because it's been damn near a decade in the making. And a lot of people don't understand that, like, you got to put your work in. Like, you can't just, like, yeah, some people are going to be able to take really great pictures. They just started 3 months ago because they got the eye. They could pick up quick. But other people, it's like, it could take you 3 years. But once you put the work in and you start to master your craft, it's going to all circle back. So I would say that just don't be afraid to put the work in. Don't be afraid to put the time in, and stay consistent. Because people who've been following me, people like you who really know me, you can see my growth through the years.
I see
and
it,
even
bro.
though I can't see it because I'm like living in first person, it's like when I talk to people, they tell me about my growth, opposed to it just being like me trying to do clothes for 6 months and shit didn't really sell. So
and then
I'm
next.
doing something else. So consistency and knowing when it's time, and really learning the craft before you just want everybody to support you.
Well, bro, I'll be the first one to tell you, if I haven't already told you, a whole lot of times, man, you one of the most consistent creatives that's consistently like producing and putting their ideas out for people to see, to experience, to touch. And I'm glad that I've gotten the opportunity to attend a couple of your events. I highly, highly recommend those of you that may be watching or listening in to attend a Mike G event.
Sure.
And for those that don't know, how can people plug in to Mike G, We Don't Run From Adversity, Boston Young? Like, how can we plug into the Mike G movement?
Yeah, so I will say the Boston Young, in regards to digital marketing, with that business, if you need any digital marketing help, consulting, things like that, you can reach out. You can go to bostonyoung.com and we'll go from there. But in regards to how to plug into me, my personal brand, and the clothing brand, it's just at Where's Mike G on Instagram. And I'm it's a soft launch now. I haven't really told many people, but where'smikeg.com is a thing as well. Really been working on my website probably about the last 6 months to have as that hub. So once you go to the website, you will find links to everything else that I do, whether it be the publications that I write for, the clothing brand, and just everything that I do. So the website, you can find it there. And then with the clothes, WDRFA.com, you can find, all of our past releases, photos from our events, video, and then when things are available to sell there online as well.
Okay. Well, this has been the Plugged In Podcast, episode 1. Shout out to Mike G.
Appreciate you.
Man, we appreciate you, brother.